All right, well, it's Facebook Friday, Lynda.
Yay.
We're back together.
We are.
Together again.
Together again.
That's right. We talked about our theme song
Naturally.
last week, right? And Brooke did not want to sing the theme song.
She did?
I know. I was just very disappointed. What can I say?
I'm going to have to get somebody to record it so we can play it.
Yeah, I think you should do it again, right?
It's Facebook Friday. It's Facebook Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And this is Facebook Friday Staycation edition. I'm not here.
He's on vacation.
I'm not really in the office. These aren't the droids you're looking for. That's right. You know, I mean, so yes, this has been my week of vacation. Where I've come in every day. I've come in every day. That's right. Well, that's because if I stay at home, my wife does have a list of things for me to do at home. So some of which I've done, some of which I'm trying to avoid. I just cleaned out the garage, and now it's like it looks like I never cleaned it up. So I have to do it again.
You sure you did, or did you just dream about it?
That's possible. That's it. Could be. That would explain a lot. Okay. I'm happy to be here with y'all. It's because I love my staff so much. I feel like I can't even, I don't even want to take time off because I would miss out being here with you.
You're full of it.
No, you guys are great. All right, so we're here in our patient conference room where patients sit waiting anxiously to see me for some reason, and there are lots of books here to talk about embryo adoption, but also about IVF, but a lot of things that we talk about, and so I think that an issue that has come up in the past has been you guys are pretty limited in terms of what you do. You don't do donor egg, you don't do donor sperm, you don't do gestational carrier, and why is that? And we've talked a little bit about some of those issues in the PGT part of it, genetic testing. Okay, so I told Mark I thought we should touch on these two fairly high-profile lawsuits that got filed recently, where maybe in this past year. And so the first was a same-sex couple that were doing reciprocal IVF, where the two women were going through IVF so that one could carry the embryo from the eggs from the first member of the couple. And they did PGT because they really wanted to have a girl. And then they found out they were pregnant with a boy, and that was really traumatizing to them. And so they actually did not terminate the pregnancy, they actually carried through, but they ultimately sued the clinic and said this is unacceptable, this isn't what we wanted, and this is really traumatizing to them. The one woman had been a victim of sexual assault, I think, and she was traumatized by that experience. So it was just a terrible situation, and yet, of course, the child didn't have any say in that, right? I mean, it wasn't his fault that he's a boy, and yet here we have this lawsuit out there. And then this other one that just hit was a same-sex couple, two men who had arranged for donor egg and gestational carrier, and they had, it was very important to them to have two boys. They actually had named their two boys before they even had the two boys. They had Gmail accounts for their two boys beforehand, and I know, so they're probably better at getting their email than you are, but even though they didn't exist at the time that they had their Gmail accounts. So I guess you can have a Gmail account if you don't exist. Yeah, so in any case, in this situation then, they had wanted to have boys, and they had one boy, and then they went through a couple of transfers with their gestational carrier. She did not get pregnant. Then they went and did a transfer, and it worked, but it turned out to be a girl. And so now, they are now suing their clinic, saying that this is not the child they wanted. They wanted to have a boy, they have a girl, this is going to cost them a lot more money because now they're going to have another cycle, and they're going to have to raise 3 kids instead of the 2 that they wanted. And this just strikes me as things run amok. I mean, that's,
My apologies.
Yeah, Mark.
Even though it's not my fault.
Yeah, Mark quickly pivoted to, it's not me. So, a little defensive on it. So, I mean, my heart aches for those children because to grow up, knowing your parents had filed lawsuits because they didn't want you.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know. I
just
just think of how many patients are just so desperate to have, and these were healthy children. They just happened to be a boy instead of a girl instead of a boy. And this is what happens when you do PGT, is that, this is a slippery slope. And this happened to me previously where we did PGT in my former practice. And we had several missed calls on the sex of the embryo, where we thought it was a boy embryo, turned out to be a girl. We thought it was a girl, thought it was a boy. And the patient would call you up and say, "Hey, we just had our ultrasound. What's the deal here? You know, we did the gender reveal party already and all the other things, and you know, it looks like it's in gender miscalls are about 3 to 5%. And so I was talking with a embryologist friend who's at a large clinic in the Southeast, and they had 3 missed calls this year, I think, in terms of the sex of the embryos. So,
do they do education with the couples ahead of time, giving them those percents that this is not 100%? That's, you know.
Right. I mean, I'm not there. I mean, I know that I did, but you know, nobody thinks it's going to be them, right? If you say, well, there's a 3 to 5% chance that you get a missed call in terms of the sex of the embryo, no one thinks they're in the 3 to 5. Mm-hmm. Everyone thinks they're in the 97, right? Which is, most of the time, they're in the 95 to 97, right? But the question is, what would you do? Right. See, what would you do? And that's the thing, is that in this cases, I mean, I guess in both cases, they continue the pregnancy, I guess, so as a life-affirming clinic, that's a good thing. And yet, these children, I mean, I don't know. I mean, my dad wanted to be a general surgeon, okay? I was supposed to be a general surgeon. I was supposed to join my dad's practice. I was disappointed, that I chose OBGYN. As he said, I don't want to say anything about OBGYN's son, but OBGYNs in my day were the guys who were too stupid to get a general surgery. I was like, thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
That's like, that makes me feel so good. That's like, So, anyway, I mean, but it's just, again, this idea that your parents filed a lawsuit, like about the clinic that helped them have you, and Huntington Reproductive actually put out a strong statement against the same-sex couple that had the gestational care and the donor eggs, saying we're committed, and they were blessed with a healthy child, and blah blah blah, and that's true, and yet this is the problem, right? Is if you allow this technology to permeate, what are we doing here, right? If you are producing a product and the product is an embryo, then everybody wants, I want the perfect product, right? And to me, that perfect product is, I'm picking the sex of the embryo, but at some point, is it go to hair color? Does it go to athletic ability? Does it go to the kid won't have heart disease when he's 7 years old? I mean, where do you draw? I mean, it's a slippery slope. Where do you draw the line, right? We all have value, right? If we are all image bearers of God, then we all have value, right? So this is tricky, and that's why I said we just can't take that first step, because that's what happens when you open up Pandora's box. These are things that come out, and I think that's the thing, is that if it's reproduction producing a product, sure, why not? I mean, I waited for my new car, right? I wanted my car to be perfect, right? And then I got in my new car and I realized, hey, the middle row seats are right next to each other. How can my dogs get to the back to the third row? I might have to get a different car. I might have to turn this car in. And they said, oh no, look, you can slide the seats apart. I'm like, I can keep the car, right? But I was ready. I'm just going to turn that car back, because that's a product that didn't meet my needs, right? My need is, I wanted a car where my dogs go from the middle row to the back row without a problem.
You're the only person I know that has judged their new car by whether the dogs go.
The only person who admits that they would.
Well, no, that I know.
That you know.
That I know.
I know. Well,
so there's lots out there.
There are lots out there, but the only one's stupid enough to admit it on social media. But I was ready, right? I was ready to turn back, but it's a car, it's a product, okay? But if we look at right, but if this field is all about procreation, right, then it's different, right? Then it is what you have, right? That is the outcome you have, and maybe we don't understand why it wasn't the outcome we wanted so badly, and that's part of it too.
And while I feel for those two couples, my mind immediately went to the children.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a loving home, and I never had any doubt whether I was wanted.
Yeah.
Never. And I can't imagine growing up with that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's exactly right. And these are things I think deeply. I mean, I remember, my brother still talks about when he told my dad he wasn't going to medical school, and my dad's like, well, why did you take the MCAT? My brother's like, I'm not going to medical school. He's like, well, so you don't have the grades? He's like, no, I don't want to go to medical school. He's like, well, why don't you want to go to medical school? And my brother's like, I want to be a doctor. And my dad's like, so I guess it's your grades, huh? It's not. Dad, I don't want to be a doctor, right? So I'm just saying, but my brother still talks about that, right? I'm just saying, right? So just to not feel wanted, right? To feel that somehow, I don't know, it just breaks your heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that's the thing is that these are unusual cases, and I think that when you look at this issue of how we're viewing the embryos and that's why with the ANDC, right? We said, listen, we have embryos that have been genetically tested, but we will not let you choose based upon just the sex of the embryo, right? Somebody says, well, I want to come and do embryo adoption, but I just want to have a boy. We've said, I just don't think that's really in line with the, with the organization's goals. And I think, and again, this 3 to 5% miscall rate. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's real, right? If you're in that 3 to 5%, you're 100% money. So as you said, how are they counseled? And even if the genetic testing, or they counseled, like, what if all your embryos are abnormal? What are you going to do with them? And I get calls, patients say, all my embryos are abnormal. I was like, and? So I want to come to you and put them in. I said, well, why won't your clinic do it? I said, because they're all abnormal. I said, but if you were going to put them in, if they're all abnormal because you think there's a 1% misdiagnosis rate, then maybe you should have done testing in the first place. If your goal was just whatever you get, you're going to put in, they said, yeah, but I didn't think they'd all be bad. It's like, but now they're all bad. So again, these are, when you open up
the results of all the possibility of results and what you would do.
Right, but no one ever thinks they're going to be in that group, right? I mean, who, right? I mean, whether, and it's hard. I mean, we all have those outcomes unexpectedly. The ectopic pregnancy. I didn't know you could get an ectopic from IVF. Yeah, you can. It's rarer than miscarriage, but it can happen. So I mean, all these things are true. So I don't know. I think that's as we talk a lot right now in the country about the status of embryos, about pregnancies, about the babies. I mean, these are issues that come up, and those two cases. I mean, it's just like, wow. I mean, that's why I'm so glad to just not have to deal with it. Right? We don't have to deal with it. Say, listen, it's fine. I understand if you want to do those things. We're not doing it here. It's fine. But as I said, I think that is the Pandora's box that you open up. And for those clinics, that are getting sued, it's not fun to be sued. I mean, being sued is no good. I mean, the patient's like, oh, they get insurance. I said, but let me tell you, as a physician who works so hard to help people, getting sued is a terrible feeling. It really hurts you in terms of you've tried your best and outcomes aren't what you want sometimes. I mean, that's a terrible feeling, right? But if you don't open the door to that, going down that this is a mixed metaphor. If you don't start down that slippery slope, you don't ever end up at the bottom looking up going, how did I get here?
Right.
How did I get here? Right? Mm-hmm. It's like starting a jingle, right? So you've now created this jingle, right? What if it doesn't take off? Right? Well, if people think it's stupid, right? Then you feel bad. Like you didn't have to say that we have a Facebook Friday, jingle.
Why would you think they wouldn't like it?
I think they love it, Lynda. I mean, everyone loves Lynda. I mean, who doesn't love Lynda? I mean, so it's true. But it was Mark's idea anyway, right? I mean, it's definitely Mark's. It's Mark's fault.
Hear me sing.
Exactly.
Oh, I do.
You did. Yeah,
oh, yes. How I love it. Oh, I love it.
Well, in any case, we love Lynda.
Yes.
And we love Mark. And we love all our staff. And we love our patients. And they're all loved. So they never should feel that they're not loved here.
That's right.
Yeah. Some nurses are loved more than others. No, they're all loved exactly the same. Well, anyway.
But speaking of the slippery slope.
Yeah. That's right. I love you best. Don't tell your siblings. I love you best. Anyway, well, now you've wasted another 13 minutes here, Facebook Friday, Staycation Edition. I should be back in the office full-time next week. So for patients who were thinking, what happened? Why didn't Dr. Gordon call me? Dr. Gordon's really not here. So that's right. So we will see you next weekend. Have a wonderful weekend, Lynda.
You too.
I'm going to enjoy the rest of my staycation.
Me too.
I'll
enjoy my weekend.
All 6 hours that are left. So, all right, we'll see y'all next week. All right.